Welcome into another edition of That's Deep. I'm Tommy Z, joined as always by Johnny Bravo. Johnny, we're coming off a couple good cards back to back. We've made some money these last couple weeks, and we've got a really good card here. On paper, originally looking at it, I didn't think the UFC 319 card was the best, but the more I look into it, I feel like we got a lot of good fights. We've got a lot of close fights. I see some dogs coming through on this one, and we've got an incredible main event. We lost the Bobby Green fight today, so there's one fight down, but
we added another tough finale.
and a tough finale.
Well.
But we added the kid who won on Tuesday is fighting on this card. I just saw that.
Chimaev. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's gonna be interesting. Dude's looking for 2 wins in the span of less than a week. Has it ever happened? I think Chimaev may have done
Hamzat.
That. Yeah, Hamzat did it on a Wednesday and a Saturday, didn't he? Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's a rare occurrence. You don't see that very often. But hey, we got a pretty good card, fun card lined up. I like some dogs on this card. I'm kind of curious to see where you're at with some of these fights. Hopefully we're on the same dogs. That would be good to see. But yeah, overall, I mean, how you feeling today? How you feeling coming into this one?
Feeling good. Back to back, pretty good cards. Made money, and yeah, I'm excited for this one. This one's it's a pretty stacked card, top to bottom. It's some really interesting fights, and yeah. Excited. Main event couldn't be. I mean, the main event it's going to be nuts.
Yeah, that's it's one of the more intriguing main events we've had in a long time because
I think this is one of the more
questions.
One of the more anticipated fights for a while. I mean, they were going crazy at the press conference today. So yeah, I mean,
it's going to be good. They haven't been in Chicago in many years. Crowd's going to be insane. It's wild main event. It's gonna be a great one. So with all that said, let's jump right into it. Our first fight on the card is the tough finale, one of the tough finales the only tough finale we're gonna get at this point.
We got
what's that?
They put the Rodrigo Daniil fight to UFC Noche.
Oh, they moved it to Noche. Okay. So the one tough finale that we have on this card, we got Albi Idaris taking on Joseph Morales. Morales is a guy that has fought in the UFC back a few years ago. Didn't have the greatest run, fought a couple tough guys. I personally did not watch this season of Tough. I don't really watch anymore. I try to keep up with the fights and the results as they go, but not a ton of insight personally from the show. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I watched the whole season. Yeah, I'm really high on this Alibi kid. I mean, he's looked phenomenal. Pretty much. I mean, he's just pretty much schooling everyone. He's good everywhere. Good striking, good grappling. This kid looks like he has the potential to be the real deal, from Kazakhstan. So, these guys are kind of crazy. So, yeah, he's highly talented and could be a really good prospect. And, Morales kind of, been there in the UFC a few years ago, went 1-2, got cut, didn't really fight much from then until getting called to the Tough House. And in the Tough House, he looked okay. He looked decent, but yeah, I think Alibi is just better everywhere and just going to be able to just do probably whatever he wants, I don't know if he finishes them because Morales is pretty tough, but yeah, I definitely see a comfortable win here for Alibi.
Yeah, from what I've seen, the kid looks pretty explosive. He's got some skills, and I will be on the Alibi side here. I mean, Morales is good. Yeah, well, he's solid. I mean, he's nothing special. We've seen him at the UFC level. He's he's a pretty tough kid. But yeah, this Alibi kid looks like he's got the goods. So that'll be my pick here. All right.
Yeah, I was really interested in the other one that got canceled too. That was gonna be an interesting.
Yeah, that one definitely seemed like it would be. It was going to be a good one, but I guess we'll see it down the road.
Month.
So
yeah,
not the end of the world, I guess. I mean, there's a lot of fights on this card anyway. I mean, it was scheduled for 15. I think we got
13 fights.
Yeah, so I mean, it's still a ton of fights on this card. So no harm, no foul there. All right, a pretty interesting one here for our second fight of the night. We got Karini Silva taking on Diane Barbosa, women's flyweight bout. These two have fought in the past. Barbosa did get the win in that one. Odds are pretty heavily in favor of Silva here. She has looked good on the UFC level. She's shown she's got some pop. She's got dangerous submissions. But Barbosa comes back with. She's a decent striker. She's got good cardio. I think she's probably got the better cardio of the two. And, they have faced each other before, so it's an interesting matchup here. I do like Silva a lot. I think her game has improved greatly the last few years. But what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Karini Silva, she's looked decent. She's kind of ran into a roadblock. I think when she fought Araujo. She ran into a little bit of a roadblock there. It's like really like, I mean, she's been slicing through all these girls, just taking them down and insta subbing them. She's looked, good in the grappling department. Like the cardio isn't the greatest. The striking is pretty decent. I mean, I'm high on her. But I don't know. I think this is going to be a tough matchup. Like you said, they fought before in the past, and Barbosa got the win. And that's that was a while ago. So I mean, each fighter has made improvements, but it's Barbosa's pretty. I mean, she's a good striker. She's got decent pop in her hands. I think if she can stuff some takedowns here, I think she can probably edge out a win. It's probably going to be a super close, competitive fight. I could see this being a split, if Karini Silva can get it to the mat and utilize the BJJ. I mean, she's dead. She's dangerous down there, But at these lines, it's got to be a dog or pass for me. I mean, I got to roll with Barbosa here at plus money, plus 175 I see right now. And a close coin flip kind of fight. I just gotta, flip the coin here, and I'll take the plus money.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a competitive one for sure. I mean, obviously they have fought in the past. It wasn't that long ago. A few years. So things have changed since then. Barbosa can be taken down and controlled on the ground, and that can be an issue, and that's. If Silva does get it to the ground, that's going to be her path. I mean, she definitely has a legit path there. But I'm going to be looking at the plus 3.5 here with Barbosa. I mean, she's a pretty decent sized underdog. So, maybe get something decent there, maybe put it in a parlay. But, yeah, I think it's going to be competitive. Official pick, I lean Silva. I think if she does get the grappling going, she probably gets it done. But I don't think, I think if this goes 3 rounds, I think she probably loses the 3rd round. I don't think her cardio is going to hold up. It hasn't to this point. I mean, she's pretty much tired in all the fights she's been in. So, yeah, I mean, I haven't officially gotten to the Barbosa dog shot here, but I do like her. With the plus 3.5, I think it's a close fight. I think it's a coin flip fight. And honestly, if you're going to bet a money line in this fight, the dog is the way to go. As an official pick, I do think Silva wins. But, yeah, I think this is a very close fight. And I like the live betting opportunity here. I think, if Silva gets a little success early, gets the grappling going, but doesn't find a finish, and it looks like this fight's going to go long. I think I'll probably jump on Barbosa and hopefully cash a pretty sizable ticket.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Interesting fight.
All right, we move right along here. We've got another interesting one here. I mean, middleweight fight. We got Brian Battle, who I was I'm pretty down on after that last performance of his. But overall, he's a guy that pushes the pace and, generally comes to fight. Taking on Nursultan Rousey-Boev. Rousey-Boev is a guy that I've backed so far since getting to the UFC. I do still have some questions about his cardio. I do have some questions about his grappling. This is an interesting matchup here. I mean, Battle, we saw in his last fight, he likes to push the fight up against the cage. He likes to fight in the clinch. He's got some good striking. He's got some good power. He fights at, generally speaking, a high pace. We didn't see that in the Randy Brown fight. It was kind of weird. He did not seem like he wanted to fight there, but he pulled off the win. He was able to edge it out on the scorecards. This one, to me, very interesting, very close. Rousey-Boev's got big power. He's a huge dude. Battle moving up to 185. He has fought at 185 in the past, so it's not – and he's a guy that missed weight at 70 a lot. So, it's not like he's a small welterweight moving up. But what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I've never really been a big Brian Battle fan. I don't know. He just does not seem like my kind of guy. He's just, I don't know, his attitude, the way he talks is just, I'm not a big fan of the guy. And then he pulled that crazy stunt in his last fight, where he missed weight and then just cage pushed for 3 rounds. Technically, usually that really isn't his style and how he fights. He seems, he's a decent striker, and he's got grappling too in his back pockets. He has subs. He's an okay fighter, he's decent, but I don't know. I've just never really been a big fan of him. I think, the chin can be cracked, but typically durable. But I backed Gabe Green in their fight, thinking that Gabe Green can catch him. And Gabe Green fought probably the stupidest game plan ever.
Literally,
and just came out and swung like an idiot and got starched. He's moving up here. This is a tough. I kind of like Rousey-Boev. I've had question marks on him before, but he seems like he's got big power in his hands, decent striking. The grappling is somewhat of a question mark, but he does have some good subs on his record. He has a lot of fights, a lot of experience, whether he's crushing cans and wherever he was from, and but he's shown a decent. He's carried himself well in the UFC outside of the Buckley fight, where Buckley is just a powerful, strong guy that's just going to muscle you down to the ground and be able to hold you down. Buckley would do that to a lot of guys. But I've liked what I've seen from him so far in the UFC, and this is another one where I can't lay chalk on Brian Battle at minus 165. It's just not something I want to do. So if it was a pick 'em, then maybe I would consider it, but. Yeah, I like Rousey-Boev here in the plus money as a dog, just to be the the bigger guy, the stronger guy, the natural middleweight. This is Brian Battle. Like you said, he has fought here, but generally does fight at 170. So this coming up here is what is some of his speed going to go away? What's how is that going to affect him moving up? If it affects him at all, maybe he looks good and knocks out Rousey-Boev, but. Yeah, I don't know. I gotta go with Rousey-Boev here. The plus 140 now, a little money's coming in on Battle. So yeah, I gotta roll with Rousey-Boev here to get the job done. This is one of the dogs I kind of pointed out earlier in the week, but it just could be my hatred for Brian Battle. So I don't know.
Right. Yeah, me too, man. Though I've backed Rousey-Boev, like I said, his entire UFC career. I even backed him against Buckley. It didn't work out. That was kind of a levels type fight, but he didn't quit on himself. He still fought, and Buckley's a tough out, and I like Rousey-Boev. I think he's got some pretty good power. Battle does like to push forward and not necessarily fight in the clinch, but kind of get in that dirty boxing type game. And I think Rousey-Boev. He's bigger, stronger guy. He's got some good power. He trains with some good guys over in Philly.
Yeah, he's training in Philly with Pfeiffer and Brady and all those guys. So, I like that too. That's another aspect I like. He's at a good gym training,
Yeah, and he's been there for years now. So, his game is generally going to improve. I think he's a pretty solid fighter. And, I'm not a big Brian Battle fan myself. I've backed him a little bit in his career, but like I said, I faded him against Randy Brown. I thought he lost that fight. He pushed him against the cage, but he didn't really do anything in that fight. So obviously that kind of fight, low volume, cage control, I guess give him the victory, but wasn't impressed with that at all, especially after missing weight and then talking, down on Randy Brown after the fact. It's like, dude,
yeah,
you miss weight. Like, so yeah, not the biggest fan of Brian Battle. I like Rousey Boev here. I think this is a close fight. Rousey Boev has the power. We've seen Battle get rocked in the past. I think Rousey Boev could catch him, but I also think he could beat him over the course of 3 rounds. So give me the dog here. We're on the same page, which is a good thing. All right, moving right along. Another pretty interesting fight here. We got Edson Barbosa moving back up to the lightweight division, taking on Jakar Close. Barbosa, the past few years, has been fighting at featherweight. He had some mixed results down there. He was always kind of a big dude, pretty heavy weight cut to get down to featherweight. Had some big moments, had some nice fights, but just was never gonna find his way to a title. So no sense in cutting weight and going through that hell late in his career here. So he's moving back up to 55, taking on Jakar Close. Close is was on a nice little streak. Obviously, that was derailed in his last fight. Took a pretty tough KO loss. Both guys a little bit older. Both have skills. This fight, they both have power. Both can crack. So, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is a tough one for me. I don't know. I think both of these guys are pretty borderline washed, I would say. Barbosa, he's had moments but he's taken tons and tons of damage. Like the Lerone Murphy fight took tons of damage in that fight. The first couple of rounds in that Sadiq Youssef fight before he gassed, he took a lot of damage, and that it's concerning. Now he's moving up. He's getting older. It's not, and we know what he brings to the table. Edson Barbosa, dynamic striker, good kicks, a good fighter in his day. But he might be a little bit he might be getting to that level where he's getting to that point where it's time maybe to think about it. You know what I mean? And Jakar Close, you've always kind of questioned his durability ever since the Jeremy Stevens thing where he fucking got pushed and had a concussion and had to pull out of the fight, and then he took that massive knockout in his last fight. I question his durability. He's not the most exciting kind of fighter. The striking, I guess, is decent, but he's another one of these cage pushers who's going to want to get it close, push you up against the cage, make it grimy, maybe sneak in a takedown. He probably could get takedowns here, I think. Barbosa's takedown defense isn't the greatest, and when he gets down there, there's really no game plan for him to get up. So that would be my concern. But I think Barbosa might have a little bit more left in the tank, and he might have a little bit more pop in his hands. And I don't know. I think he could probably catch Close and put him away here. So yeah, right now I'm leaning Barbosa, but I really not excited about it. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think Barbosa probably gets it done. But yeah, obviously both guys getting older. I think Barbosa moving back up to 55 probably going to help him a little bit. He's not going to have a massive weight cut like he had at featherweight. And we've seen weird knockouts in the past. Barbosa had that strange knockout against I forget the kid's name now. Moved over to PFL, but he cracked him, and then it was like a
Shane
10
Burgos.
Yeah, the Burgos fight.
Yeah,
and
Burgos fight. Yeah,
he kind of had that like Ric Flair type finish to that fight, and we've seen close on the opposite end of that, where he's looking good, and then all of a sudden he's doing the chicken dance out of nowhere in the Dariush fight. So maybe we get a similar situation here. Barbosa maybe throws some weird spinning wheel kick, catches him, and just gets him on wobbly legs. But overall, I think these two, at their peak, Barbosa was a better fighter. I think they're kind of in a similar spot in their careers right now. They're both aging. Who knows how long either one of them will remain fighting. But I think at their best, I think Barbosa gets the job done. I just think he's a more dynamic striker. I think he's a little bit more durable. I mean, obviously, we've seen him take some damage, which that's not great. But Close is coming off a knockout from a knee, so that's damage too. So they've both taken some damage over the course of their career. So yeah, I mean, not a big favorite here in Barbosa, not a huge confident pick here. But I think Barbosa gets the job done, and I think there's a possibility he finds a pretty entertaining knockout in this one.
Yep. Well, Barbosa by knockout plus 275. That's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, Close. We've seen him get cracked before, and seen him get cracked a few times.
The under 2.5. The under 2.5 is plus 135. I don't mind that either.
I don't mind that either. Because Close definitely, he's got some power too. He can catch Barbosa.
Black doesn't go is plus 115. I don't mind that.
Yeah, couple good spots there for this one. So, I guess we can root for violence in this one.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along here. We've got a pretty sizable favorite here in Chase Hooper, taking on Alexander Hernandez. This is a lightweight bout. Chase Hooper, since moving up to lightweight, has, he's looked pretty good. I was a little disappointed in his last performance against Jim Miller, but, he did what he had to do. Controlled a strong grappler for most of the fight on the ground. Hernandez is a guy that does have some power, and, he's dangerous early in fights. He's a strong kid. He's got some skills. He's pretty well-rounded. He's had some, pretty sketchy performances himself. His cardio, not necessarily the greatest. You never really know what you're going to get with him. But, I mean, Hooper's a pretty sizable favorite here. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really impressed with the improvements Hooper's made, in all aspects of his game. He came in, he was kind of this skinny, scrawny kid with no striking and just a little bit of grappling and some good BJJ. But he's really, the improvements he's made, since he's kind of filling out to his frame, like you said, he's moved up. I mean, the kid looks, he's a giant. He looks good at pretty much everywhere. Slava in the Slava Claus fight, his striking there, he knocked Slava Claus down, and he was actually winning exchanges on the feet with Slava, which is, pretty crazy if you think about it, since where Hooper came in at, this guy, he's got pretty good wrestling. Once he gets you down to the ground, he's going to get that body lock on you. He's going to lock down. He's going to get your back, and he's going to be landing ground and pound. He's going to be looking for subs. I like the activity. He doesn't just take you down and like try to hold position. He takes you down and tries to land damage, which is something that, you like to see. Yeah, Jim Miller, you didn't finish Jim Miller, but, Jim Miller's a fucking tough out, and plus, Jim Miller's a good grappler in his own bracket, and a good, BJJ practitioner in his own, so him not getting him out of there, I was on him to get him out, but, Jim Miller's tough, and it didn't surprise me, but coming into this one, and Anthony Hernandez is like, this guy has just been kind of like a disappointment to me. He comes in red hot. He starts as Beneil Dariush. The guy, you think he's going to be something, and, you back him in some fights, you think, where he clearly looks better and has an advantage, and he's kind of a flaky guy, The cardio isn't great. He will fall off a cliff. He's got about 7 minutes of cardio, and then, he will fall off a cliff. The striking is good. I mean, he's got grappling. He's decently well-rounded, but it's just the cardio and the fight IQ that's not very good, and I just think Hooper's just made the improvements, and he's just going to be able to just probably take this guy down and ragdoll him and just beat him up, and if not finish him, just take him down with the body triangle, land ground and pound, fish for submissions, and just dominate him. But, Hernandez is tough, and, he could make it interesting, because he does have better striking here. So if he can stuff takedowns and keep it on the feet, I mean, that would be his path to victory, but I don't know if I see it, man. I like what I see from Hooper. I think he's made a lot of improvements. He's on the uprise here, and I think Hernandez is a little bit, falling off. So, yeah, pick for me is Hooper. I bet him already. I have him in a parlay to close out a parlay. So, yeah, I'm on Hooper. Love Hooper this week.
Yep, same. When I saw it, fight booked, he was one of the first guys.
Yeah,
that I said,
actually the first guy I zeroed in on.
Yeah, Chase Hooper this is a good spot for him. Just a good matchup. So yeah, I like Hooper too. I also have him in a parlay. Actually, that closes with him. So yeah, I like Hooper. I mean, I just think he's getting better over time. It'd be interesting to see where he goes in his career. He's a pretty big kid. He's tall. So, he fills out, gets some more muscle mass on him. And, the wrestling, the ground and pound, it's a good skill to have, especially in the lightweight division. I mean, there's a lot of strong grapplers in the division.
And I like he doesn't just go and just try to, take you down and hold position. He goes and tries to land damage. So I like most about it.
Puts on a pretty good pace. He said in the last fight he was gooning a little too much, so hopefully that's not the case coming into this one. But yeah, I think overall, I mean, outside of him getting cracked with a shot pretty early in the fight, I think he just puts a good pace on, and just rounds 2 and 3 probably takes over. Can get a finish, obviously. He's got submission skills. Ground and pound is there. He could TKO. And Hernandez cardio is not the greatest, so high-paced fight. I can see Hooper finding a finish in this one. But, yeah, overall, I think he gets it done. And, yeah, just has to avoid just taking a big shot early. Other than that, I feel pretty good. All right, moving right along here. We've got another pretty interesting one. Women's strawweight bout. We got Jessica Andrade taking on Lupo Godinez. Andrade, obviously we've seen her. She's been a champion. She's fought the best of the best, the who's who of the division. Godinez kind of moving her way up. She's had a pretty nice run in the UFC. A lot of close fights with her. A lot of decisions. Pretty much every fight she's in is a nail biter. But she is very skilled. She's got good boxing. She can grapple. Andrade, she's got the big power. She's got good striking, good volume. She's getting a little older now, but she's never an easy out. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm on the, I like Lupo, but it's just, man, it's so frustrating betting her. That's the one thing about it. She's in all of these close fights, like you said. And it's like her fight IQ it's terrible. Whenever she has an advantage somewhere, it's like she does the opposite. Like the Angela Hill fight. She, use your wrestling and take her down. And you decide to go in to have a 15-minute striking bout with Angie Hill when you have a clear grappling advantage. It's just dumb. Her fight IQ is terrible, but she is a good fighter, decently well-rounded. Good grappling, but another one of these fighters that are good grapplers that they have a little success with their hands, and they fall in love with their hands, and they don't want to use the easiest path to a win, you know.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I like Loopy. I think she's well rounded. She's good. You know, it's just close fights. You know, she's always in them. And you know, she's a frustrating watch when you have money on her. I'll tell you that. That's for sure. Trust me, because I've been through it. And you know, Andrade is like, I mean, what does she have left in the tank? How much? What is she like? You know, is her heart 100% in it? You know, we've seen her. I mean, she's getting finished in these fights, and she's getting finished pretty easily. You know, it's just not a good look. You know, yeah, the Mackenzie Dern, you know, she kind of turned the clock back a little bit there and was able to knock out Mackenzie Dern. I was actually honoring that by one of the few times recently that I've been honored. You know, and you know, it's just you really don't know what you're going to get from her. You know, but you know, she's a good striker. You know, the pedigree is there. She's got power in her hands. I think it would be stupid if Loopy just doesn't take her down and use her wrestling here and dominate her on the ground, where there's a clear path to victory there. But knowing Loopy, she probably is going to stand and strike with Andrade, which is probably not the smartest thing to do, because you know Andrade can crack and she has a lot of power. So
yeah,
this is a tough one for me, because I mean, if you're betting on Andrade, you totally missed the line, because Loopy was like minus 240. You could have got plus 180 on Andrade. She's down to plus 127 now. So like, I can't find a way to the money line there. And like Loopy minus 147. Not excited about it. I think. Well, you know what I'll probably do? I'll probably wait, and more money will probably come in on Andrade, and if I can get Loopy at like a pick or like minus 120, then I'll probably end up firing on Loopy. But I don't like the minus 147 I'm seeing right now. It doesn't really appeal to me. Maybe an under here. Maybe some violence. You know, Andrade is prone to getting finished, or even, you know, getting a finish herself. So, I mean, I think, I don't know how, I mean, yeah. So I think the under might be a little sneaky. Maybe what's Loopy by sub? Loopy by sub 750. I mean,
yeah. Our guy Tyler in the chat just said Loopy sub is wide.
Yeah. So that's interesting to me. So yeah.
Yeah, I saw somebody said recently. I forget who it was, but in the fights that Andrade gets taken down, she gets submitted. If she gets taken down once, she gets submitted. So that'll be interesting. I mean, if Loopy comes in and looks to grapple, that plus 750, that looks
going to be live.
Pretty good. So yeah. I might just dabble in that a little bit. Maybe a little quarter unit out there. But yeah, I mean, I think the fight's close. I think it's competitive. You know, Andrade, she definitely has the ability to land that big shot. You know, Loopy's been durable. Not somebody that I would expect to get knocked out, but against, you know, Andrade, who's got legit power, yeah, anything's possible. I think the fight.
I think Andrade could put anybody out in this division.
Yeah,
if she
exactly. I mean, she's got the power to do it. So yeah, I mean, a couple of good ways to look at this fight, I suppose. You know, maybe look at the unders. The Loopy sub, definitely something.
Yeah, that Loopy sub is interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, you know, because when you look at it on paper, it's a Loopy fight. You think it's going to go 3 rounds. But yeah, I mean, if she comes out, I mean, in her last fight, she landed 5 takedowns. She went to the grappling. So, you know, maybe somebody got in her ear. So, hey,
but she also had to poop in that fight. So maybe that's why.
True. That's true too. So maybe she get this fight over with.
Yeah.
But hey, you never know. She might have to poop again. Maybe she grapples because of it. So, but yeah. Overall, you know, on a side, like I do think Andrade is live. Obviously, the number's not what I would like it to be, but yeah, I think it's It's almost a dog or pass type spot. I do think Lupe has the game to get it done, though. And, yeah, I may just throw a little something on that sub, and that might be it. That might be all I bet on this fight. But we'll move right along. Got quite a few fights left here. Got a middleweight bout between Gerald Meerschaert and Mikhail Olen Chichchuk. Olen Chichchuk has some nice power. He's a good striker. He does struggle with grapplers, though. We've seen, he cracked Kevin Holland, and then Kevin Holland submitted him pretty easily. Michel Pereira submitted him before that. And Gerald Meerschaert, big dude, 185er, slow as death, probably the most unathletic dude, maybe even in the UFC altogether. But the grappling game is extremely dangerous. So, if this fight goes to the ground, Meerschaert's definitely live. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I mean, Mikey O, looked like $1 million in his last fight. I mean, he's had kind of a tough stretch, but then like his last fight, he was at the Fighting Nerds for the first time in his last camp. And he came out and he looked like $1 million. He looked on point, looked dangerous, We know what we're getting out of him. He's the takedown defense is kind of questionable, but you got to think he's over at the Fighting Nerds. He's got to be drilling. He's got to know that this GM3's probably only path to victory is taking him down and getting that sub. Because if this is on the feet, Michael Olajaychik, what he throws, the way he throws combinations to the body, to the head, he mixes it up really well. He's got that, he's got really good power, and if he touches you, he could put you out, and that's the only thing. But the only thing questionable is like the submission game when it gets down to the ground, and I think, that's probably GM3's only path to victory here, because he's looked pretty terrible in his last few fights. He's getting hurt and he's getting wobbled in almost every fight. Yeah, he won that that gassed out trains at a Shabazian fight. But Shabazian, I think they could have stopped that fight. Shabazian had him dead and rocked, and then somehow, that fight. I think we were on Shabazian too by knockout. I think in that fight, and yeah, how that fight didn't get stopped is baffling to me. But he ended up surviving, and Shabazian did what he does and gassed out and got finished. GM3, he's kind of notorious for these guys that kind of gas, and him just having a little bit more left in the tank. But the cardio's kind of seemed to fall off a cliff. He got GM3'd in his Renier de Ritter fight, where he looked completely cooked after like 7 minutes and had nothing left in the tank. Well, we all know now how good Renier de Ritter is, but everybody was the first round. In the first round, everybody was ripping de Ritter, said de Ritter sucks, and he still was able to finish GM3 in round 3. Yeah, there you are. Yeah. But GM3 is always live. He's got the most submissions in UFC history, I think. So no, does he, or is that Charles Oliveira? He's got like middleweight stuff.
I think Charles has the record for the UFC, but I think for middleweight,
middleweight is Meerschaert. Yeah. So that's always live, but the takedowns aren't too great. So yeah, I don't know. I think Meerschaert goes to sleep here probably pretty early in round 1 or 2. So yeah, the pick for me is Mike Olajaychik by knockout.
Yeah, I think that's probably the way it goes. But we'll see. If Jason Herzog is the ref for this fight, I might throw a little sprinkle on the sub here for Meerschaert, because if he does get hurt, he's going to have to be sent to the shadow realm for that fight to get stopped. So we'll we'll see who's reffing.
I
this
mean, you
fight.
could probably bet GM3 live after like round 1 if he survives.
Yeah.
You're probably going to get a way better number, if you think he's live. He's not dead by then.
Yeah, that's the thing. After the first round, I do think he is live. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, if he gets through that first round, I will probably have a ticket on Mearshart live. I would assume he's probably down after the first round, so it can only get better. Well, yeah, I mean, I say it as a joke, but if Herzog's the ref, like, he could get absolutely destroyed in the first round and still be live in the fight. So we'll see. We'll see who's
but
reffing.
Mearshart hasn't really been taking damage well. So
no, he hasn't. He hasn't been knocked out in a while, but he has been cracked. He's definitely, the chin is definitely a question mark. Olen Chichchuk definitely has the power. I think pre-flop bet, I'd probably just bet Olen Chichchuk by knockout. But I do think Mearshart's pretty live in this one. I mean, you're getting submitted. You drop Kevin Holland, and then you get submitted quickly, and then the Michelle Pereira submission. Obviously, he's with the Fighting Nerds now, so you would think his grappling gets a little bit better. But how much better can it get in the course of a year? So yeah, I think the the Mearshart sub is live for sure. I think the smart play, obviously, Olen Chichchuk catches him with something big, puts him out. But yeah, an interesting fight, and especially one if it goes longer, definitely a live opportunity. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I guess I'm going to roll with you on Olen Chichchuk. I mean, he should probably get the job done. But yeah, there's definitely an opportunity for me to cash, try to get on a live bet here.
what's the Mearshart round 3 sub?
Oh, that's probably a nice number.
Mearshart round 3 sub 20-1.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
we've seen it from him on a couple occasions. I've had a couple Mearshart money line bets that I was ripping my hair out, and then he finds a third round sub. So that's more than live in this one. All right, but we move right along here. Our next fight is what we talked about in the opening of the show. Bison, I can't even say this dude's name. Bisonagur.
Bisonagur Suskarayev.
Just fought on the Contender Series. Dana White nicknamed him Jimmy. I think it would be, if I was him, I would definitely go with the Jimmy nickname, just for fun. But he's taking on Eric Nolan, who is also making his UFC debut. I didn't even know this fight was booked until probably an hour ago when I was just looking at everything for the show. So don't know much about Eric Nolan. I do see he has 3 straight knockouts on the regional scene. One of the guys had a pretty decent record that he fought, and then, a couple sketchy guys on there. So don't really know how good this kid is. Obviously, the Contender Series was, a disappointment overall, and Suzukayev was the bright spot, and obviously Dana White is, trying to give this kid a little shine. Yeah, so I don't really know what to make of this fight. I think Suzukayev is probably the side here, but what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this kid Bisonagur is pretty good. Suzukayev. I mean, how much more impressed can you be from his Contender Series, debut? I mean, he's able to show pretty good takedown defense, and the body kick from hell. Just absolutely just crumpled the dude. Striking looks phenomenal. Good wrestling, good everywhere. Yeah, I got nothing bad to say about this kid. He's coming in here short notice and on 4 days, coming in, fighting from Contender Series, coming in and fighting on UFC 319. I don't think we've ever seen that. This is pretty crazy, you know. Main training partners of Hamzat, you know, so he's getting good work in with Hamzat, Sarukian, and all those guys in that camp. Even Hamzat's giving this guy praise. Hamzat even said today in the press conference, this guy's better than me. So, I mean, a lot of hype on this guy. You know, his striking is really good. I mean, the wrestling is there, and he's solid. And then, Eric Nolan, it's going to be a long night for this guy. I mean, I was able to watch a few of his fights, and like nothing really like stood out to me or made me think this guy has anything for this guy. Outside of maybe a lucky fluke punch, I mean, the tape that I watched, I wasn't too impressed. He can be taken down. He can be held down. I mean, if he's taken down, then he pretty much has no get-up game. The striking, I guess, is decent. I mean, he seems like a tough guy, you know, so that's something he's got going for him. He could be just super tough, you know, but I think Susakayev just walks through this guy. And it's probably a round 1 knockout. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't have a whole lot on this fight, but I do like what I saw from the kid. So I you know, and obviously he's coming from a strong camp, didn't take any damage in that Contender Series fight. So I know for a fact, you know, cardio wise, he's going to be fine. Your cardio can't fall off after just a few days. He just fought. So I think he's, you know, ready to roll. And I think he, like you said, probably finds a finish in this one. All right, moving right along, we have, speaking of, one kid that fought 4 days ago, and then we've got Tim Elliott, on the other hand, who hasn't fought in nearly 2 years. Flyweight bout here, Tim Elliott returning after quite a long break, taking on Kai Asakura. Asakura, obviously, we know, came in, fought for the title right off the bat. You know, pretty tough ask against one of the best flyweight champions that we've ever seen. Didn't go his way. Obviously got out-grappled in that one and got submitted. You know, and Tim Elliott, he's a funky dude. He's all movement. He's wild. He's unorthodox. He's got good grappling. He's been submitted a bunch of times. He's only been knocked out once in his career. Never an easy guy to pin down. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, Asakura, I mean, you couldn't get a more tough, I mean, debut. You're going against, you know, Pantoja, I mean, which is pretty crazy to come in and fight for the title in your debut and go against that savage. You know, it was always going to be an uphill battle for Kai there. You know, but, you know, we know what we're getting from this guy. You know, he's a good striker. He's got big power in his hands, you know, pretty good, decently. You know, the grappling is a little bit left to be desired, but you know, on the feet, I mean, he throws a lot of heat, and you know, he's a really good striker. You know, and that's where he wants to take advantage of. You know, he wasn't able to do it because I mean, Pantoja pretty much just took him down and grounded him like right away, and just didn't leave him the opportunity. But you go back and watch this guy's fights in Ryzen, and you know, he was starching guys. You know, he beat Manel Kopp, but also lost to Kopp. You know, it's really good fights over there. You know, I'm pretty high on Asakura. I think he had a tough run out in this first fight. You know, and that you know, and Tim Elliott, man, I really don't know like what to expect of this guy. I mean, he's been gone for 2 years. You know, he's taking pictures on social media. He had this big old beard. He said he's not training, and you know, he's going through a lot of things in his personal life. I guess, you know, his wife cheated on him on the day they were supposed to get married with their you know, with his training partner. So you know, the guy's been going through a lot of personal stuff and a lot of adversity in his personal life, and you know, maybe that's why he's been gone for 2 years. You know, but he's 38 years old now. You know, in his prime, you know, Elliott was a great fighter. I mean, he went through the tough house. He fought, you know, Demetrius Johnson, and you know, he was he was always a tough out and always was a tricky guy, you know. But it's like you take it 2 years off. Are you coming in here just to fight for a check? Is my concern here. You're 38 years old. You know, you're probably never going to fight for a title again. And it's like, is this just showing up for a check? I don't know. I think, you know, I think Kai eventually ends up finding the button and he gets his highlight reel knockout that everybody was expecting him to come into the UFC with. And I think he gets it done and probably puts away Tim Elliott, who has probably 1 foot in and 1 foot out. So, yeah.
I mean, I'm on the same page. I think
I got Asakura to close out a parlay too. So,
yeah, Asakura is a legit fighter. He's the real deal. Obviously coming in fighting Pantoja and for the title, it is what it is. Pantoja makes light work of high level guys, and honestly, if I remember correctly, I don't even think he had like a full camp for that. I think it was kind of a thrown together fight. So, not that I don't know if it would have made a difference, but I think Asakura, his grappling, he's not a grappler by any stretch, but he does scramble really well. He's not a fish out of water on the ground. Obviously Pantoja got him, but Pantoja's, elite on the ground. Tim Elliott is a good grappler. He's very, very tricky. He scrambles very well, but he also gasses out too. I mean, he puts a lot of effort into the first round and a half or so. So even if he does have a little success early, I think Asakura just scrambles and finds his way back to the feet. And as Elliott fades, which I mean, I think he's 39. I think he might be turning 40 soon. Either way, 38, 39 years old, flyweight, hasn't fought in nearly 2 years. It's not a recipe for success at the UFC level. So yeah, I mean, I just think there's a lot going in the favor of Asakura, and I think Asakura looks good in this fight. And now he gets a win. Give him another tough matchup coming up, but I think he'll be a guy that's around the title picture for the next couple of years, and I think this is the start of a nice run for him in the UFC. Yep. All right, moving right along, we've got some aging bets here. Middleweight bout, we got Jared Cannonier taking on MVP Michael Paige. I mean, this is a very interesting fight. Paige, MVP, is very, very tough. He's a very unorthodox striker, very slick, kind of low volume, but extremely dangerous. Cannonier is a big, strong dude. He's very well rounded. Obviously, he's fought for the belt. He's one of the better guys in the middleweight division in the UFC over the past 5-6 years. He's always up there. Got himself a nice win over Gregory Rodriguez. Rodriguez put a pretty good beating on him early in that fight, but the cardio faded, and Cannonier just kind of took over and did his thing. Very interesting matchup here. I mean, MVP fought a lot at welterweight, but he is a pretty big dude. Tall, lanky, kind of skinny guy, so kind of easy for him to bounce around from middleweight to welterweight. I don't really know what to make of this fight. There's a part of me that thinks MVP could just pick Cannonier apart, but there's another part of me that thinks, Cannonier can grab a hold of him and try to wrestle him and, just be the stronger of the two. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I mean, MVP, his style is, you don't really see that style too much. Only one compare is probably like Wonder Boy. Really slick, in and out, karate style, kind of hands down, illusion, kind of gives you the illusion like you can hit his chin, but his distance management is so well. He's not in your range, and he's able to get in and out so quick. He's fast, really technical striker. Yeah, I mean MVP striking is pretty elite. I mean, he's got some. I mean, if he lands he's got vicious kicks and elbows and knees. I remember that one dude in Bellator. I mean, he absolutely destroyed old boy and had a dent in his skull, which was pretty nuts. I forgot the dude's name. But yeah, he's got
the male cyborg.
Cyborg. Yeah, the male cyborg. Yeah, just absolutely destroyed him and left a dent in his skull. So he does. I mean, he's got power. I mean, but like you said, he is kind of low volume and real technical. And when he throws, he doesn't genuinely miss. So I mean, he pretty much throws and he lands. He's in and out. He's fast. He's up here at 185 now because I mean he's saying that nobody wanted to fight him at 170. I mean, and he just wants to fight. So I mean, I would get it because I mean, fighting MVP is a pretty tough stylistic matchup. You know what I mean? Hard to prepare for that guy. I mean, he absolutely schooled Char Bullet in his last fight. Yeah, MVP's looked pretty good. And then the Ian Gary fight. I mean, the Ian Gary fight was pretty close until like the last minute where Gary was able to just get on his back and steal that third round and a win, or else like MVP I thought would have won. And he did. I mean, he got the takedown, and then somehow Gary reversed him and got on his back and somehow edged out that round. Kevin Holland absolutely took him to school. Yeah, I mean, I've always been a fan of MVP, and I like what I've seen since him coming into the UFC. He's actually one of the few Bellator guys that have actually transitioned well into the UFC. And then Cannonier, what we're going to get, the vet, the Apex main event, the Apex superstar. It seems like every fight he's the main event at the Apex. He's a good striker, big powerful guy. I mean, well-rounded, decent. But he's getting up there, 41 years old. We've seen him hurt in a lot of his fights. Yeah, he got, the Imavov fight might have been stopped early, but he was rocked and really hurt really bad. Hobocop, hurt him bad in their fight. Kyle Bahio had him doing the stanky leg a couple of times in their fight. So, I mean, he still has power. It's just, I think the durability might be waning. I think the cardio is still good. He still has good, decent cardio. It's just the durability is worrying me. He's 41 years old. Yeah, I find it hard for him to find the range here on MVP and be able to get inside and be able to get a hold of MVP. And MVP's not a fish out of water in the grappling department either. I mean, he can be taken down, but I mean, he does have some good scrambles and get-ups, that he can go to. So, I mean, I really don't think Jared Cannonier's really a wrestler like that. I mean, he might gas himself out if he's, forcing takedowns and going in. That's not really his game plan. So, yeah, I think MVP's just able to keep it at range, piece them up, pick them apart, use some side kicks, get in and out, use his speed, and, maybe he can catch Cannonier. I mean, we've seen Cannonier, hurt, recently. So, yeah, I like MVP genuinely a lot here. I've got him in a parlay closing. So, yeah, I love MVP.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think hit the distance management is going to be key in this fight. I think he's just so fast and so just weird. I mean, the weird style, it just goes a long way in the UFC.
Like Ian Gary only landed 20 punches on
yeah,
him?
Ian Gary. I mean, and he hurt Ian Gary too. Like, I mean, and Ian Gary's no joke on the feet. We've seen that. The dude's very good. Yeah, and I was on Ian Gary in that fight, and I was not feeling comfortable until very late. And even that, it's not like MVP was right there the whole time.
He went for that takedown in the third and lost the fight, pretty much.
Yeah, that was basically what it came down to. It was he needed that, and but yeah, I think MVP's a really tough out, and Cannonier, while he has survived some damage. Like in the RoboCop fight, he doesn't seem to take damage all that well. So if MVP does land and starts to hurt him, I think it's going to be a real problem. And it's only 3 rounds. RoboCop, he came out guns blazing. I mean, he came out looking for the kill, and he looked like an absolute killer in that fight. And it looked like RoboCop was going to roll through him. But he didn't get him out of there, and then he faded. I don't really worry about that so much with MVP. I mean, if he gets him hurt real bad, he's a sniper, so he can find that finish, but he's not going to gas himself out.
He's not going to rush in and try to. Yeah.
He's going to pick his shots. He's going to be clean. So for that reason, I think MVP is the side. Obviously Cannonier, big, strong guy, could grapple and, maybe could ground him. But like you said, it's not like MVP. You take him down and he's just going to lay there. He's a guy that is going to scramble up. We've seen some, he's shown some submission skills in the past in Bellator. He's made a couple of guys look silly on the ground, honestly. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I just think the speed is going to be what gets it done. And, we haven't seen a finish from MVP in quite some time, but there's a chance. There's a chance that he finds one here and makes a pretty big statement. All right. We move right along here. And we've got another really interesting one here. Good fight. Got Jeff Neal taking on Carlos Prates in the welterweight division. Jeff Neal, another guy that, he's been up there. He's fought the best of the best. Very, very, very tough out. And, Carlos Prates is a guy, he's got great power. Obviously we saw Ian Gary kind of work him for about 3 rounds, and then he kind of turned it on in rounds 4 and 5 and really had Ian Gary in a pretty tough spot. And, everybody talks about the cigarette cardio, and, Prates is a smoker, and you wouldn't expect him to have good cardio. But, I mean, in that fight, he had Gary in some pretty tough spots late. So, yeah, I don't really question the cardio. What I worry about with Prates is he's a bit of a slow starter. And Jeff Neal is he's a pretty steady Eddie type dude. He comes to fight, he's tough, he's durable, and he makes it close. But Prates has that kill shot. He's got the power. He's kind of, I've always said, like a welterweight Poetan. Interesting fight here. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. This is a tough one. I like both of these guys. I'm a fan of Jeff Neal. The guy's just, he's just a real, like humble dude. You see his interviews. He seems like real humble, cool dude. He was actually in the camp for this. He was actually waiting tables back in his hometown. So he says it keeps him out of trouble, which is, he's had legal problems in the past. So I mean, hey, we'll do what you got to do, make your money. But yeah, I mean, he's a really good fighter. I mean, good striker. Pretty durable, pretty tough to finish, pretty tough to get out of there. Shavkat, I mean, he was kind of keeping it close with Shavkat until Shavkat got that standing choke. Shavkat didn't knock him out. He was keeping it close. He keeps against all these tough guys. He's just a tough out. He's going to walk forward. He's going to throw bombs. Yeah, he's got good power. I mean, that Vicente Luque fight, I mean, he pretty much destroyed, Luque's career and sent him in with the brain bleed. And Luque's never been the same since after that. That was, a life-changing beating he put on Luque. He's had some really good performances in the UFC. I like Jeff Neal. Ian Machado, the fight with Gary was a good fight, competitive fight. Yeah, I mean, he's a tough out. He's durable. He's a decently well-rounded guy. He's good. And Prates is, he was the hype train, starching. All these guys, quick. I mean, but the competition, he was starching was Leach coming off an injury and Radke and Neil Magny, who he barely like grazed by his ear and put him out, which I think was kind of fluky. But yeah, I mean he's looked good, and then the Machado Gary fight just didn't do anything for the first 4 rounds, and then hurts Gary really bad in the 5th round and almost finishes him, which was pretty crazy. I was on Prates in that fight, and I was screaming at the TV for him to finish him, and he didn't, and he lost that fight. And people talk about the cigarette cardio. The cigarettes aren't going to affect his cardio. The cigarettes are going to probably affect his cardio like 20 years from now, but now probably it's not going to hinder him. So. Yeah, this is like you said. He's just generally low volume and a slow starter, and Jeff is gonna walk forward and throw, and throw volume. But I don't know, this guy. It's hard for me to bet against this guy Prates because he seems like he's that dude, and if he connects with you and the way these guys are talking that they're gonna go in there and go to war, I genuinely believe Jeff Neal's gonna go in there just throwing bombs. And I don't think that's a recipe for success, because I think if this guy catches you, he's putting you out. Even though Prates' chin has been checked before, he has been finished quite a few times in his career. He's not like some new prospect guy. He's kind of the finished, he's been around a while. He's got a lot of fights. He's been finished like gang of times. So, the chin has been cracked. So, yeah. But I'm going to lean that eventually that Neal just comes in here and tries to go to war, and he eventually catches him. And I like the under 2.5. I don't mind that at all. That's minus 125. I think that's a really, really good look there. A lot of money's coming in on Jeff Neal, but yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to attack this one yet. But yeah, as of right now, I think Prates finds the button and puts away Jeff Neal. I just think he has that death touch. So
yeah, I'm kind of that's where
it's a tough one for me. Tough one for me though.
It's very tough because Jeff Neal is really good. So I do worry a little bit about Prates getting behind, but I do wonder after that Gary fight, does he try to start a little faster? Try to win that first round, because it's going to be tough. These 3-round fights, you don't really want to be giving up rounds, especially when you're fighting guys that are in the top 10, top 15. They're not going to make it easy on you. It's not just going to be an easy knockout every time. And this is kind of one of those fights where it's like, Jeff Neal's tough as nails, and you can't count on knocking him out late. So you kind of have to get going right off the bat. So, yeah, ideally, I'll be on Prates here. Ideally, they do go to war, and Prates gets off to a hot start, and Prates lands something big. But yeah, it's tough going against Jeff Neal, especially in a kind of this stylistic matchup. But I do think if Prates gets going early, it's gonna be a tough night for Neal. So yeah, I have to roll with Prates here as well. All right, moving right along. Just feels like there's so many fights on this.
Go ahead, I'll be right back.
All right. We got Lerone Murphy taking on Aaron Pico in a featherweight matchup. I've been a Lerone Murphy fan. I think I bet on this kid in every fight that he's had in the UFC. I really like him. I've had questions about his wrestling defense. We've seen him taken down in the past. That's a little worrisome. Obviously, against a guy like Aaron Pico, he's making his UFC debut. If you're a Bellator fan, or if you're just a general fight fan, you probably know who Aaron Pico is. Kid had all the hype in the world. Back as far as like 5 or 6 years ago, he had suffered a couple knockouts, and then he had a weird shoulder injury that cost him another fight. So he's a guy that he's got the skills. He's extremely good wrestler. He's got good power. He's extremely aggressive. But I worry a little bit about his durability. Early on when he took a couple knockout losses, I was like, are they going to kill this kid before he ever makes it? And so far, he's moved up. He's made his way. He's had a nice career to this point, making his UFC debut here against Lerone Murphy, who's a guy that he probably could wrestle. But Murphy, he seems to get better from fight to fight. We saw him put a great performance out in his last fight against Barbosa. The volume was great. Took some damage in that fight. It wasn't easy. It wasn't flawless, but overall, I mean, Murphy has he just seems to be improving fight to fight. He's undefeated. This is a tough matchup here, though. Pico making his debut, coming over from Bellator. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I like Lerone Murphy. He's well-rounded, super technical striker, really crisp and clean striking. He's got power if he lands, but he's kind of that technical style that he uses. But he does have good knees, like he knocked Bakwan Amirkhani out with that flash bang knee bang after he did get wrestled. That's the one concern is he has. The one concern was he has been able to be taken down, but recently he's kind of worked on his get up game where it's kind of hard for you to kind of hold him down. That he's usually scrambling to try to get back up to his feet, and that's what I like. And then he's kind of utilized some wrestling himself at some points. Really good striker, and I think this kid he's pretty good, and he's tough. He's tough to beat. He's another one of these tough puzzles to solve, And Aaron Pico, the hype train in Bellator. I was never really too excited about him. He had some questionable, results in Bellator. He's pretty much like a Bellator. He's crushing all these bozos in Bellator. These guys aren't even to the level of competition that the guys that that Murphy's been fighting, and we've seen a lot of these Bellator guys come in here and they really struggled, Patchy Mix looked terrible. Pitbull in his first fight looked terrible. I don't know. Pico, good striking. He's got power in his hands. He's pretty fast. He's got that wrestling though. That wrestling is pretty good, but he really doesn't use it too much. He's kind of another one of these guys that kind of fell in love with their hands, but he's got pretty decent striking. You're going to give me the guy that's been tested in the UFC, has fought the better competition, the higher level of guys. I just got to roll with Lerone here and just at plus 145 against an unproven Bellator guy in a co-main, making his debut on a co-main event of a pay-per-view card. Maybe it's just a little too soon, and give me the experienced UFC guy that's been there, done that, undefeated at plus 145. I got to roll with Lerone here. It's no question here. Maybe at a pick 'em, it's maybe debatable, but at plus 145, it's a no doubter for me to go with Lerone here.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked when I saw that Lerone was the dog here in this fight. Like you said, all the things you said. Guy's coming over from Bellator. He's crushed a bunch of cans. He's the durability I'm not sold on. He's been knocked out. He's had injuries and fights that he's won or that he was winning. To me, he feels like a broken version of a Justin Gaethje, a guy who could wrestle.
Michael Chandler, dude. He seems like a Michael Chandler to me.
Yeah, kind of similar.
Another Bellator guy.
Yeah, very similar. Obviously we saw with Gaethje's, he's had a great career in the UFC. But I feel like, Gaethje's a guy who doesn't to this point hasn't utilized his wrestling like you would expect him to. I think Pico's kind of in the same boat, but I think Pico's less durable. I think he's got some power, but I don't think he's got the power of a Gaethje. And yeah, he's very similar to Michael Chandler. He comes out, tries to put on a show. The fight IQ is not always the greatest. Takes some damage. And yeah, I mean, Lerone Murphy is a guy that, like I said, I've literally backed him in every one of his UFC fights. Dude's he's had a tough life. I mean, he got shot in the face. He's tough. He's a tough guy, and he just seems to be improving. He's in a really good spot in the featherweight division. He's win here. He's not far off from title talk. He's on a great run, and I just think it's going to be a raucous crowd. Pico's going to try to put on a show, and I just think at dog money, it's not even a question for me. I'll take Lerone Murphy 10 out of 10 times. If it goes down, it goes down. But yeah, I mean, of all the dogs that we've seen on UFC cards this year, Lerone Murphy's, he's right up there towards the top of guys that I trust with my money. So yeah, Lerone Murphy for me, I just think he's got a lot going for him in this one.
Well,
all right.
Here we go.
Oh, you're watching.
No, I'm fucking ready for this next fight.
I thought you were watching a game.
No, I'm ready for this next one.
All right. So that brings us to our main event here. This is a fight that, I mean, from a fan perspective, you can't ask for much more. Dricus du Plessis, a guy who, I've tried to poke holes in his game his whole career, and it hasn't worked out in my favor. Taking on Hamza, a guy who's come in and he's rolled through about 90% of the competition in the UFC. He's had a couple tough fights. The Gilbert Burns fight, obviously very, very tough, very, very close fight. Kamaru Usman fight. Usman took that fight on short notice. The narrative, if it was 5 rounds, Usman probably wins. But Chimaev is extremely dangerous, extremely strong wrestler. He's got power in his hands too. He's not just a grappler. And Dricus is a guy that, I mean, he's tough as nails. He's durable. We've seen him lose rounds in the UFC and then just come back and starch dudes. Overall, it's a very strong game. Just a legit champ. I'm looking forward to this one. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I've been excited for this one this has got some real good hype behind it. I haven't been this excited for a fight in a long time. You say Dricus du Plessis, just kind of this madman, zombie, clumsy, just like awkward, just style doesn't make any sense, but it's effective. Like he just not the most technical guy, but he's going to go out there. He's going to throw bombs. He has power. The wrestling he's got it there. If he needs it, he can use it. It's just kind of one of these, I don't even know how to explain his style. I've doubted him before. I've doubted him in the past, but I mean, he's the champ. I mean, he's legit. You know what I mean? Even though I think that Izzy fight was kind of weird because Izzy, I thought, was winning that fight, and then Izzy just kind of seemed to, his cardio just fell off a cliff, and then Dricus hurt him, and was able to just submit him and put him away, which was kind of give or take. And I thought he probably lost the first Strickland fight, I think, but and then in the second one, I mean, he just completely dominated Strickland in that second fight, I mean, he's legit. He's a really good, solid, just awkward, just style is like I said, it's just you don't know what the guy is gonna do. He's unpredictable in there, but he's got cardio. He seems pretty durable. But I don't know. He might be running. This guy, he's going up against Hamza, who is just. I mean, this guy seems like he's He's unstoppable. You see him kind of the chinks in the arm. You know what he's going to get. Maybe the cardio isn't the greatest. At times he slows down, but he's this camp he went to T.J. Dillashaw's cardio coach. So who knows what might be going on there. Who knows what's been But I mean, if you watch the embeddeds and you watch the stuff, I mean, the guy's putting in the work, man. He's busted. He's working on that. He's going hard in the cardio, and everybody thinks Hamzat will fade after one round and then DDP will just take over. I'm not so convinced to think that that's the only route. You know what I mean? I think Hamzat can maybe I mean, the wrestling is good. I mean, we know the striking. He's got power in his hands. I mean, the GM3 knockout where it was just one punch, bang, gone, dead. We know the power's there. Yeah, it's hard for me to go against Hamzat in this spot. I think Hamzat just does what Hamzat does here, and it's going to be hard. Robert Whitaker last double leg Dricus pretty easily and took him down, and he's getting taken down. Derek Brunson was able to take him down pretty easily, even though he was able to scramble after Brunson gassed after like 2 minutes. He was able to scramble and get on top. But he's been taken down by lesser guys, and I think if Hamzat gets you down there, I think it's like the floor is like lava when you get down there. It's like it's not a place where you want to be because he gets you down, he gets to your back, and he's landing ground and pound, and that squeeze is just it's. I mean, we've seen the squeeze. I mean, he absolutely shoved all of Robert Whitaker's teeth into his jaw, which is that. I mean, to have that kind of squeeze, you gotta have something, But yeah, I think we have an Anu on Saturday. I think Hamzat does what Hamzat does. I like Hamzat inside the distance. I'm on Hamzat inside the distance. So yeah, I think he gets the job done, and I think we got an Anu.
Yeah, beast.
Yeah, pretty much.
I was.
And then I'm on Hamzat. I'm on Hamzat inside the distance, but I tied it with something else. I have plus money on that. So I mean, if I need to adjust live, I mean, if you think DDP is going to survive round one, he's probably plus 500 after round one. So you could probably just sprinkle on that and just not get crushed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean that's the way I look at it. I'm one of the guys that when the fight was booked, I was like, yeah, DDP's just going to get him second or third round. But when you really think about it, I mean, Hamzat's now training for a 5-round fight. He's had more than enough time to prepare. There's no way he's coming in here and he's got a round of cardio. Like, it's just not. And to be fair, I mean, even in that, the Usman fight where he definitely looked tired and, Usman looked like he was doing his thing, he still did what he had to do. He still got Usman down in the third round. It's not like he just goes away.
I mean he's how he didn't finish Usman in round one. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely destroyed it. Like, nobody's ever even made Usman look anywhere near what he made Usman look like. So, I mean, that's a pretty impressive feat. Yeah, I mean, Chimaev's a big dude. We saw him picking up DC and twirling him around like a child on the outside of the arena, which is pretty wild. But yeah, I mean, honestly, if Hamzat comes in and his cardio is good for 3.5 rounds, maybe he doesn't even have 5-round cardio, I think he could just struggle through the 4th and the 5th rounds, like we've seen him struggle through late in 3-round fights. The guy looks like he has all the skills. He's extremely dangerous. We have seen Dricus in trouble in fights. And, like you said, I thought he lost that Strickland fight, the first one. Strickland put a lot of damage on him. And, the narrative was that, that DDP's landing the bigger shots. But, I mean, Strickland put a beating on him. I mean, he had it like he was crawling around the next day, and Sean Strickland was out snowboarding. So,
Yeah.
you know, he took some damage in that fight. You know, Strickland's obviously a tough out, but you know, and then he came back and he kind of showed levels on the next one. But yeah, I mean, Dricus is a tough dude. He's a tough out. Obviously, if Chimaev has success early, and you know we see this fight going later, yeah, I'll probably throw something down on Dricus because he will be live. He's the type of fighter that he makes good fighters cardio fall off. I mean, he's just there, and he puts, you know, he's a heavy hitter. He's got the cardio. He's puts damage on guys. He continues to move forward. He's a tough person to put away, and you know that's why he's got the belt. But yeah, I mean, I think Chimaev may just be a special fighter, and you know, we all, when he broke into the UFC, we all thought he was going to be a champion. It's taken a little longer than I think most of us would have expected. His activity, you know, he's had some illnesses and some weird things, and you know, visa issues and all kinds of stuff that's kind of slowed his pace a little bit. But here he is now. He's got his chance. I think he probably gets it done. I think he's the rightful favorite in this one. We'll see what happens. We'll see what the second and third rounds look like. You know, maybe there's a live opportunity, but yeah, I have to go pre-flop here. I have to go with Khamzat. I just think it's just too dangerous, and I have to expect the cardio is going to be on point. And if the cardio is on point, I mean, I don't know who beats him, because the dude's got all the skills in the world. So, yeah. So give me Khamzat here. And, yeah, that's it. So, as usual, over here at Nuke the House, we're going to have a busy weekend. We got trucks. We got Xfinity. We've got Cup Race. We've got preseason football kicking off. Well, it's back. Kicked off last week. And, you know, we'll probably have some plays on some preseason football. And obviously, the fight's Saturday night. So
Trucks and PFL tomorrow will be live.
Oh yeah,
Trucks and PFL will be live tomorrow.
PFL and Trucks tomorrow, so we'll have a live show for that. So yeah, if you're not a member at Nuke the House, now's the time. Football season. This is when we go to the moon. We're live. We have live shows for every NFL game. You know, except like the random London 9 a.m. games. But other than that, and of course, we've got all the guys in the Discord. We've got a bunch of good cappers. We've got a lot of good guys over here. So sign up at nukethehouse.com. You know, Keg's heating up. Keg's been on a tear the past month and a half, 2 months. And, you know, things are looking up. Time to make some money. And tune in for the live shows. And, yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's what we do. Johnny, if you got anything else, let us know. Otherwise, we'll get out of here.
No, that's it. See you guys this weekend.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. Give us a like. Give us a follow. Share the video. And we will see you this weekend. And good luck on your bets. We're out.
Later.